Seth Rollins was asked about Jim Cornette and Vince Russo, his thoughts on those two. If you don't know, Vince Russo and Jim Cornette do not like each other. They despise each other, especially Jim Cornette. Really despises Vince Russo. But here, Seth Rollins hates both of them. I hate them. He specifically says I hate them. Now, this is not my words. This is his words from the latest podcast. He's just done giving his thoughts on Vince Russo and Jim Cornette. He was asked by Jay Moore, the interviewer. Is that his name, Jim Moore? I remember him back in the day. I just haven't talked about him, or people talked about him in a while. But this is part of the podcast he was being interviewed on, and Seth Rollins gave his thoughts on both of these two former WWE employees and two big wrestling personalities on YouTube that really hate each other right now. Let's get what Seth Rollins had to say. I hope I don't get in trouble for
the writer.
I have to mute my. Okay. Sorry.
Whose side are you on? Jim Cornette, the tennis racket guy?
Cornette, yeah.
Jim Cornette versus the Vince guy, the writer?
Russo?
Yes.
So I hate them both.
Cornette says...
So he says he hates them both right there. He says he just flat out says he hates them both. There.
As when I
hate them both. I think they're both jackasses. But if you had to pick...
He says they're both jackasses, they're both jerks.
If you were gun to your head, which one would you side with?
As a fan, I mean, I kind of want to hang out with Cornette a little more.
So I've hung out with Cornette because Cornette was a booker of mine. No, he was fine. He's super entertaining. I mean, the guy, he can still cut a promo. He's a victim of the hot take culture where he has to say the craziest thing that could come to his brain. And that's how he makes his money on his podcast.
George the Animal Steel has Down syndrome.
So yeah, but he's all like
Shockwave is the goat.
He's an idiot. Shockwave.
Fucking Joe.
They're both idiots. But if I had to pick one, it'd be Cornette.
All right. So those two don't like each other. Seth hates them both. But if you had to pick one, if he had a gun to his head, pointed toward his head, and he had to pick one to live, he'd go with Jim Cornette. He admits he's entertaining, but he also says, Jim Cornette is about shock, right? It's all about shock. He has to keep being entertaining. It's all about shock. Say something to keep the people coming back to his podcast. He has to say something outrageous. Vince Russo is no different. The thing of difference, right? They're no different. Vince Russo, I know he's working with JCW, but he also still has his podcast. I've listened to both of them. I agree, disagree with what they say at times. You're not going to agree with everything. I think Jim Cornette does have more personality. I think Russo's a little bit more bitter, in my opinion. The guy says he hates wrestling, but he's working for a wrestling company. I don't see how that makes sense. I think he probably just hates the politics. He just hates the politics. But Seth has first-hand experience communicating, being around Cornette. I think compared to Vince Russo. Now, Cornette and Vince Russo, I guarantee you they're going to respond to this. I don't know if they have already, but they'll respond to this. I don't think what Seth says is bad here, because he says he hates them both, but he didn't really explain why he hates Russo, or he didn't even say anything good about Russo. He said some positive things about Cornette, right? But man, he hates them both. He calls them both idiots. Like the thing is, here's the thing: Jim Cornette is old school, right? He's an old school kind of wrestling mind, and Vince Russo is old school, but in a different way. He's more old school in where his mind focuses more on the Attitude Era style of wrestling, in the late 90s, early 2000s, where Jim Cornette is more 80s, 90s styles of wrestling. So They despise each other because their views of wrestling, how it should be, don't like each other, or don't align, and things like that. And their ideas don't align, but they're very similar in the way they're old school. Their old school ideas. It's just from a different era of wrestling. But here, Seth Rollins just hates them both. He says they're both idiots, but he admits Cornette can be entertaining with his hot takes. Yeah, a lot of people on YouTube are say hot takes, just to get a reaction, just to get a crowd. All right, guys, I don't know if you listen to both of them. If you do, who you like better? It's Seth Rollins on the right here. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment below, guys. Take care. Bye.